All right, welcome back, everybody.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Going on.
That's what I'm talking about. Love that
Okay.
energy. So today we got no, it has to deal with geckos and everything. Mr. Kenny, the Dirt Daddy. So we're about to get down and dirty with Kenny. So Kenny, why don't
So,
you tell us? I'm sure you got reptiles, right?
but yeah, way
All
too
right,
many.
cool. So let's go ahead. No, how did you get into reptiles, and what led you down this road of being, making substrates and stuff?
So I guess like the quick story on reptiles is like it's just kind of like everybody else, always been there. Like grew up around the stuff, wanted to play with it all the time. Every time I saw a lizard, I had to go catch it. Every time I saw a snake, I had to go catch it. Frogs, the same. First, like I guess the first thing that kind of got me started into it was I bought a pair of Jackson's chameleons from a local reptile show, and they both died like the next day. So got disappointed about that. Thought, I did all of the wrong things, all this terrible stuff, and then learned that, wasn't just me. There are the right people and the wrong people to buy from. So, tried it again, had a lot better success. And then that got me into building my enclosures because I was like, I got to quit pissing these guys off every time they take a shit or every time I feed them and they don't eat it or whatever. So started doing a little bit of research, found the idea of bioactive enclosures and stuff like that and kind of ran with it. I don't know, $2,000 later in two separate enclosures, just trying everything, screwing everything up. I finally kind of got a grasp on it and started rolling with it. And then I just really enjoyed that part of it a lot. Started doing that more and more, learned about isopods and all that stuff. And like it that totally took off. Like once I learned about I can breed the roly-poly bugs that I played with as a kid. Like that's something I can do. Like that was just super cool to me. So I was obsessed with that. Then that went me down the rabbit hole of dirt. Like nobody really cared. It's just dirt. Like put dirt in from Miracle Grow in your enclosure, put plants in it, call it a day. That's what everybody tells, I've heard it a million times. Like, I just dig it out in my backyard when I'm doing the garden. It's fine. I don't care, all that good stuff. So I didn't really like that. So I, did more research, figure out what's the best thing. Stumbled upon dart frog forums and them talking about ABG and stuff like that. So started doing that. And then I don't even really know. It became an addiction, starting to make tanks and build more isopod enclosures and, got to collect them all basically with those guys. So that stemmed into a whole bunch. Buying substrate became incredibly expensive. And half the time, anything that had tree fern in it was coming like with the yellow flower pot fungus to the point where I couldn't even use the fresh bag I just bought. So I was getting frustrated with that, started making it myself to cut costs. Buying tree fern by the giant bag, it's $100 a bag. And if that stuff comes in molded, like that sucks, like it's usable, but I got to wait for it to dry out. I got to kill all the mold off, stuff like that. And then it's going to come back really quick as soon as you hydrate it. So it's just got tired of dealing with all that. So then I'm starting to do more research into how can I get rid of this issue? Like I know, mushrooms are beneficial. Obviously we want those in our enclosure. They're something that's going to help us, feed everything else that's going on in there. Start doing research, find out over on some Australian forums that, they only use pine bark and stuff like that. I'm like, whoa, that's bad. The first thing I ever researched was isopods can't be on pine. Pine is bad. Pine is the worst thing out there. Pine is terrible. Pine's toxic. All reptiles will die if you put them on pine. Like you can't use pine. I'm like, well, that's just great. All right, cool. I don't know what to do now. So I do a little bit more research in the products I'm already using to find out that the horchata, the orchid bark that everybody uses and everything, it's pine bark. Oh, it's just pine bark. There's a million different types of pine. There's good times to use it and bad times to use it. Like if you go out in the woods and chop a pine tree down right now and try to throw that in your enclosure, that's going to kill everything. You're going to have all the issues in the world because all that sap, all the issues from it are present, ready, and fresh in abundance. So I learned that all wood decays, just like everything else. There's nothing special about pine that prevents it from decaying and whatever. And mostly around me is a lot of pine trees. So when I'm hiking, it's pine. I still flip the same logs that everybody else does. And I find reptiles. I find, tons of isopods, tons of other invertebrates, millipedes, centipedes, you name it. It's there. So that, I'm just like, well, so what the hell? Like, what are you talking about? I can't use it, but like everything else can. So after doing some research into pine, I just found a local company that makes a ton of mulch, and I went over, got some pine bark mulch from them. It's been sitting in a giant pile for the last 3 seasons, so it's nice and aged. It's aerated. It's been weathered like hell. It's well broken down. There's already bugs in it when I went to go buy it. So started using that, dry everything out, kind of process it for me, and that worked better than everything I've ever used. Lasts longer than the pine, than the tree fern, in my opinion, just because it doesn't turn into a ton of mold super fast and run your enclosure out, and smells really good. It gives you that really good foresty smell that everybody loves. It's chunky, it's aerated, it keeps tons of healthy pockets for soil and moisture to chill into, and all that good stuff. So just that's where it ended out at. And then after a couple years of testing with it and just screwing around, I found a mix I like and found something to run with.
Awesome.
Nice.
It's awesome. Unfortunately, as sad as it is, when we make mistakes, there's no greater lessons that we learn, right, than messing up. We learn by trial and error, and sounds like you went through it.
Yeah.
So you're offering this your own product, right? Do you offer? I guess what I'm getting at. Do you offer different mixtures for different species or setups, or do you have one?
At the moment, no. I used to do a dry substrate for your more arid species and stuff like that, but the main issue I ran into is just the shit's heavy. Shipping on it is insane. I'm trying to ship out just a little 10 by 15 bag that weighs 5 pounds. Like, if you want 5 of those to do a little baby bearded and dragon enclosure for a temporary setup for 3 months, you're going to spend more on the shipping than you're going to ever on the substrate. So that was just an issue for everybody. And then, me doing shows all the time, trying to transport a 200-pound tote full of substrate just killed me. Because, I don't know if you can see me, but your boy ain't huge. So, that killed me. So, yeah, at the moment, I'm pretty much just specifically doing the wet dirt, and that's it. It does cover a very wide range of species. Basically everything. My bearded dragons are on it right now just because it works really well for them in my current setup. It got a wide range of uses.
So if you're using it, say like you're doing it for your bearded dragon, are you just letting it dry out more than you would like a different species?
Yeah, completely dry. Yeah, I do one spot where I keep my water bowl. I just keep that a little bit moist, and that's about it. The rest of it's pretty much bone dry. Once in a while I'll go through and mist it down so that way they get a little rainstorm day, and it dries out and within the day, basically, because I'm not soaking it down. It's just getting a top mist down.
So are you keeping that one bioactive? Because I know people have always had issues with like an arid bio.
Yeah. That's my biggest thing I get asked questions about is how can I do a bearded dragon bio? And to be honest, if you're going to try to do it in anything smaller than like a 6-foot enclosure, it's going to be really hard. It's going to be really hard just because the requirements of a bearded dragon versus the requirements of everything else going on in that enclosure. It's a hard balance without having enough space, enough air, enough flow, enough everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you can't do a 2-inch layer of substrate to make any type of arid plant happy. They're going to die really fast with that. So you're going to be doing thick substrates. The bug choice has got to be spot on because A, bearded dragons eat everything that freaking moves. And B, the environment that it's in, it's a little bit hard for a lot of different species to thrive. Yeah. So with me, I actually use buffalo beetles and superworm beetles and stuff like that in a lot of my enclosures for the beardies just because that seems to be the easiest.
It's one of the ones I use.
Yeah,
big old arid bio tank, man. They live perfect. As long as you, like you said, I remember that one. I'll fill my water bowl and kind of let it overflow to keep that one kind of moist. I've been running that enclosure for years, man. Never had a problem.
Yeah,
it's definitely
I said I don't have a bio in my Haemophilus tank, but I do have. I threw in a bunch of little mealworms into the tank. And they've gone and turned into beetles. So now all I see is the little beetles running around. And they help to eat and all that stuff. But as far as
and your isopods aren't going to go into the hot spot and eat poop on any 100-degree hot spot. Even at nighttime after it's cooled down for 3 hours, it's still really hot and really dry for them. Yeah. Most of them, they got gills in their butt. They gotta have some moisture around them so that way they can keep rolling. If it's that high, that low humidity, that hot, it's not going to work. But buffalo beetle go there middle of the day eat a fresh turd. You know, they don't care.
So how do you go about sourcing all your materials? Are you going through like you doing local, or do you have to
I
like?
do as much local as possible, but
Mhm.
obviously, like, sphagnum moss, that's not a thing that, I can get locally. But yeah, I try to do as much local as I can, so that way I can actually like physically go touch the product and stuff before I
Yeah,
actually spend money on it, because that's a big thing for me. Like, I really don't trust a lot of online stuff. I like everybody else. We've all wasted a ton of money with whatever online stuff. So
oh yeah,
I've tried to stick with as much stuff I can walk to, hand them, a wad of cash and touch the stuff and walk out. You know what I mean? That's my preferred. But, just it took a few years of doing online stuff to find, the right sphagnum moss suppliers and stuff like that. Cause like I try to not use a lot of the common stuff that's been the New Zealand sphagnum moss brands and stuff like that. I've had a lot of issues with those just turning into a big pile of mold too. And they're also super refined, so it's literally just a strand of dried moss. There's nothing else going on in with it whatsoever. So I ended up finding a brand that's like kind of like, in worst terms, shitty. It's like the worst qualities type sphagnum moss you'd ever want to get for like trying to make something pretty and stuff like that, because it's got tons of sticks in it, it's got tons of leaves in it. I found dead bugs in it, like all of the things. Like it's basically they dug it up out of the field and threw it in a compactor, dried it out, and sent it over to my house. So that's been the best for me. I mean, I've had all kinds of different plants pop out of them, ferns, you name it, like random stuff from. Yeah, so that's been super beneficial. Isopods love it because there's tons of decaying material already in it, and it already is, the sphagnum moss we know and love, so it's going to still have the moisture retention properties and all that good stuff. So,
are you doing anything to treat your products before you bag them up and sell them? Do you treat them in any way, or you pretty much just sort your portions out and mix your mix?
I try not to do a whole lot, honestly, other than just let it dry naturally, just because with me baking, like, yes, there's a lot, there's always pests and stuff like that make their way into things like that. With me, I've always tried to bake it to use rather than bake the whole batch. Just because I find that if it's sitting and ready and waiting, it seems to be a little bit more beneficial. When I dried everything out, it was a little bit more of a pain in the butt initially to get everything rolling, just because you have to rehydrate everything, make sure everything's balanced out. It's gonna be a little bit more hectic on its initial and fungus stage, stuff like that. So more or less just time has been the best thing for me, because nothing's going to sit there forever when it dries out naturally. Yeah, so that's honestly the main thing I do. I don't put it through heavy ringers, washing everything out with water and rinsing everything out, getting rid of all the little bits and pieces that all the bugs love. And I try not to bake it, just because that's not always the best thing for long-term storage that I've found. In my cases, my house is super humid and things are just weird here.
yeah.
But I always do recommend, like, with buying every product, even, if not for me, everything, even cocoa fiber, you do something to give yourself the comfort. I always recommend throwing it in the oven, put it in at like 200 degrees for 30 minutes. That's going to wipe out anything that you need to worry about, and you're good to go. And that's still going to keep your moisture levels in your soil too. It's just going to cook it. You're literally going to cook it. The internal temperature of that thing's going to be 200 degrees. I don't know of anything that's really going to chill after that. You're good to go.
Yeah. What are some things you gotta be cautious for? Like, what are some things you're like what? I personally, I don't bake it. I don't do anything. And now you got me curious. Like, what should I be looking out for?
So I don't bake anything I use personally. I do nothing to process anything that I put in my own tanks, just because, like, I also know where all of the base products are coming from and stuff like that too. And I know what's going on beforehand. If I buy anything from any other company, I'm going to, process it just by doing that, just to make sure that there's nothing hiding. And that's literally more or less like centipedes. Centipedes get in and they'll wreck your isopod colonies, and the babies will destroy all the other microfauna, like your springtails and stuff like that. But it's just still not even like a bad thing. Like, it's like, if they're going to stay localized there, they're not going to spread and fill your entire house up. Like, it's not going to ruin anything. Like, they're not going to eat all your plants, kill your animals. I've never had issues with it personally. And it's always just a little tiny baby garden millipedes. Or centipedes. It's not like those giant red guys that freak people out when they go flipping and herping and stuff like that. Yeah, like, it's nothing crazy. It's always just little dudes. So
I always assume the
more
life.
Personally,
I'm always like, the more
that's what I'm saying.
like, they'll figure it out
that's what I'm saying.
themselves, you know.
And everybody's all freaked out about all these different millions of types of mites that are out there, and they're thinking like, oh no, I don't want these in my enclosure. I'm like, dude, like there's nothing you can do. They're there. I promise you, they're there. There's microscopic animals that you can't see that are there no matter what you do. Like,
we have all types of
this exactly like it's a part of the ecosystem. There's nothing you can do. So I kind of just try to balance it rather than try to fight it. Balancing it works better. You know, if you notice you have a super large influx in mites, you can cut back on your feeding, dry it out a touch, you know, add in more springtails. You can do bait and switch where you just, you know, like my favorite is just throwing in a chunk of cucumber, do an enclosure. All the mites and stuff will go flock to that cucumber, and you just pull that dude out at night, refresh it in the morning, and just keep doing that. You know, little things like that help kind of, you know, it's not going to get rid of it today, but it's going to help knock the colonies down. So that way other stuff can kind of, you know, work its way in naturally or, you know, as naturally as possible. And get it rolling.
Nice.
So yeah, don't worry about like, you know, like there's not a whole lot of stuff you actually got to worry about. Like there's not really any major things floating around in there that are going to like come out and kill all your animals or ruin your collection or nothing stupid like that. The worst that's going to happen is some stuff's going to come in and eat your isopods. That's not the best thing when you're working with, you know, $100 isopod or a $50 isopod. Yeah. Obviously, you know, that's when you want to process all of your stuff, make sure you're working with a clean slate. But, you know, other than that, it's not going to hurt anything. It's just going to be a benefit having extra life in your bio.
I feel like sometimes people are overly cautious, and that you know, that eager cautiousness almost compromises their enclosures. You know, they throw the balance off by addressing one thing too much. You know, there's so much little microfauna and bacteria and things that are going on behind the scenes to balance it out. Then, like you said, you're better off just trying to encourage a healthy balance than knocking any one thing out, because it's just not natural, right? It's just not natural.
Yeah.
But you could, like you said, there's ways to deal with certain influxes in one.
Yeah. You know, you can always battle stuff. You don't have to, you know, cash it in. You can always work with it.
Is there a shelf life on this stuff? Just out of curiosity, is there a period of time in which you would recommend someone swapping out the whole substrate?
So the way I work it personally is every season. So like with the animals that I'm working with that are breeding and stuff like that, I'm always afraid. Like the way I do things are a little bit different than everybody else. I don't pull any eggs. I don't touch nothing. Like all of my Iridactyloids breed in tank. The babies hatch out. I let them do their thing for the first 3 months, and then I'll pull them and work with them solo and get them sold. If you want to talk about that, I can talk about that, you know, after dirt stuff. But with that, I you know, I'm worried about disturbing eggs and stuff that, you know, end of the season, stuff like that. You never know if they're completely done just yet or not. So I'll wait a little bit. And I what I like to do is I like to do a half substrate change. So basically I take about 12, 18 enclosure base. I'll take about 3 or 4 or 5 handfuls of substrate out. I'm replacing new, kind of fluff everything up, mix everything around, add in yourself a fresh layer of leaf litter, and keep it rolling. After that, the longest ones I have running are like 7, 8 years old. They're starting to get a little grungy and stuff like that on the bottoms, because I literally have never like actually tried to get deep in there. I just leave it and let it rock. They're starting to get a little stanky, just because it's, you know, I mean, they're 7 years old. They've been running for a long time, but yeah, they can rock for a good while, as long as you're doing some basic maintenance. I'm not saying like throw it in, let it rock and forget about it. You know what I mean? That's never going to go well for anything. But yeah, usually every 6 months to 8 months or so, I'd say I'd probably do a half and half substrate change on all my enclosures.
Yeah, definitely. I'm kind of the same way with my stuff. Like I generally wait till breeding season's done, and then I'll go ahead and like, you know, grab like some of it out. You know, make sure I get all, like, if there's any poop on there, take all that stuff out, and then throws like whatever I took out, I'm replacing with some fresh dirt or whatever I'm using, just to, like you said, fluff it up. Make sure, because I mean, as you go, like that dirt just keeps getting lower and lower and lower, right? Yeah. So you definitely have to kind of. It's not like you've set it, forget it type of thing. What people say a lot of, like, especially like bioactive, you don't have to do anything. No, you still do. Trust me. Like,
it's a different type of work. It's a different type of work. Like, you're going to learn a whole lot more about your animal than you ever thought you would, just trying to learn how to build a tank for it the right way.
Yeah.
And the right way is also subjective. There's a million different ways to build the tank. So, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to do a whole lot of learning. You screw a whole lot of stuff up.
Oh, yeah.
Just keep rolling with it. You know what I mean? I like every person that I basically talk to that's like not sure about stuff is like, dude, I've screwed up everything you can think about. Everything you've done, I've already screwed it up. So just hit me up and we'll hopefully not screw it up. And I'll teach you how to not, you'll be good to go.
So
But,
how do
like
you educate your customers on this type of stuff? Like, say, like someone's reaching out to you about like a certain tropical reptile. Well, we'll just put like, we'll just say like your Eurodactyloides, right? So someone wants to do a Eurodactyloides tank. How are you educating them on, building out that tank?
Well, if I have examples to show, obviously that's the first go-to. Run over, take a bunch of pictures of how I'm setting it up personally and go that route. But more or less, I start off with what's the goal? Like, is this something that's like, is this a breeding tank? Is this a solitary tank? Like, what's your outcome going to be? Do you want to deck it out? Do you want to have, how big do you want to go? Like, are you doing the waterfalls, the crazy, like how hard do you want to go is basically the first question of setting up a new enclosure for somebody. Just because you can do it for $20, you can do it for $1,000. You know what I mean? There's a million different ways to do it. So after getting, their basics of what they want to do, then it's all animal specific. Like, obviously the substrate's the substrate. That's the only thing that I sell. And that's obviously what I'm going to offer for every type of New Caledonian species you come at me with. But from there, it's going to be plants that work with the species. Obviously, it's a very small little finger puppets. You don't really have to worry too much about them breaking super sensitive plants and stuff like that. So you can go a little bit more fine and higher end with your plant choice if you want to. You also just have a lot more freedom for everything because, floppy, easy plants, they're not going to break and die. Whereas like with a crested gecko or a chihuahua or pretty much every other New Caledonian species I can think of, they're just going to wreck all of the plants that you throw in there because that's what they're good for. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then you're going to go with species of isopods. There's obviously like a basic go-to. I feel like it's pretty common for most people that have been in it. If you don't know, it's just your common powder blues, powder orange, the Priscillionite pronosis species. I always recommend doing that with a springtail and a dwarf species. Reason being is that the dwarves are going to stay in your substrate. They're going to stay hidden 99% of the time. They're going to be working that underground. They're going to be keeping the tank health happy and working on the substrate and fertilizing directly under the root system. Also, while keeping little airway pathogens and water pathogens, so that way it doesn't get clogged up and stuff like that. Springtails hit everything. They're like your miracle guys. They work in the molds. That's their claim to fame. They're going to eat all the poops. Anything decaying organic material, they're going to hit. And then your big guys, the powder blues, powder oranges, those are the ones you throw up top. They're the ones that you see doing all of the heavy lifting. They're not necessarily the ones that are, running the show, but they're the ones that you see running the show. They're also a great food source for just about anything that's going to chew on them. It's just a ball of calcium, and it's real good for everything. You don't have to dust them up or anything like that. It's just good for them. And they're going to, take care of, with Uris, they're going to be taking care of your Pangea diet. They're going to, any fruit flies that die, any crickets that die, stuff like that. They're going to take care of all that. Any leaves that die. They're the ones that you're going to see actually doing that, the stuff that's up top. And then from there, it's more or less just kind of like, what do you feel? Like, this is what the animal needs. Now, what colors do you like? What kind, do you like flowers? Do you want to just see green leaves rolling around that you don't have to do a lot of work on? Like, it goes from there. You know what I mean? And it also a lot of personal preference once you get past the basics of what the animal needs. You can always go straight New Caledonian stuff, things like that, which is really hard. Most New Caledonian plants aren't here. So, there's a lot that goes into it, and I always specialize it to each person. It's kind of hard for me to just be like, this is my routine for each thing, because I don't have a routine. It's kind of just like, let me talk to you, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah, and the reason I asked that was because because like I said, you're part of the Happy Dragons team that's going to be releasing that app soon. So if you guys are in need of help, like doing the substrate or finding somebody like Kenny that makes these great substrates, he'll be on there to be able to help you guys out. So like I said, it should be coming out in the next month or so. And like I said, Kenny is one of those experts. So is Ant. He's New Cal. I'm just a gecko guy. expert.
I'm just a nerd. I'm just a nerd, man.
So, Kenny, I got a question for you about.
Yeah.
It's an age-old debate right now. It's something that's made me bite my words lately. What's your stance on isopods and eggs in the enclosure? Have you ever lost any eggs?
Yeah, I love that question. Everybody that I talk to that does that is using some crappy substrate that has nothing going on in it. They're not adding any type of external calcium source into their enclosures. They're giving the isopods the absolute bare minimum to live, and then they get mad when the eggs get eaten. That's usually what happens. I'm not calling everybody out on that. There's always weird things, but in my experience, using a substrate that will sustain a colony of isopods without adding anything extra in for quite a while. It's been like the weak ones, the stuff that really wouldn't have made it anyways, stuff that was questionable, things like that. Those are the stuff that get eaten. The healthy eggs pop out, like with my Uris. Like I think in the 5 years now, 4 years, I don't even know, 4 years, I've only lost 3 babies when I started doing everything El Natural. Beforehand, when I was pulling eggs, I was killing stuff left and right because I didn't orientate the egg right or whatever, disturbed it in the slightest bit and it just died. Or like the babies just came out and they're a little wonky and they didn't thrive. I feel like just leaving them in there and letting them hatch out El Natural and using a good substrate to help them, nurse their way through has been the biggest change for me. My babies come out fat, ready to go. By the time they're 3 months old, they're like little chunks.
Been doing it in the wild in nature before the humans been walking on 2 legs,
Yeah. With that, it's for with the isopods. It's always you shouldn't put dwarf whites in with the crested geckos because they're going to eat the eggs. That's the thing I hear every time. Dwarf whites are hungry because they're asexual. Once they get rolling, there's a billion of them in there. They stay in the dirt. They'd never come out. So if you don't add something into that soil that they can eat, or add in a calcium source extra for them to eat, they're going to go for that first calcium source if they're hungry enough. They'll cannibalize if they need to.
I just started doing that. And Jason knows firsthand. I would always tell people, you're fucking nuts. I've been doing it for 5+ years. I've never lost an egg. In the last, say, 3 months, I wound up losing about 2 or 3 eggs to isopods. But
yeah,
I don't know that I had enough in there. So now for the last couple weeks, I've been adding extra food, like just for them in my enclosures, and it's been night and day.
Yep.
Like they literally swarm my food. I just use like a bug mix type food, like fish food and type of little mixture, that little concoction that I make for them, but they savage it. And then they've been leaving a lot of the other stuff that I thought they were getting into alone. But I spent years telling people, listen, I do it. I've never lost an egg. And then literally smack in the face one month I want to lose 3. But
stuff happens though. That's how it goes. You know what I mean? Not everything's perfect. You know what I mean? Like I can't say that I haven't lost eggs myself. You know what I mean? Like it happens.
Well, you have those.
But
people
yeah,
there.
Even like the Pangea. Go ahead.
You have those people out there that'll swear by it, and it's like you cannot, I'm not going to say any names. I listened to a podcast the other day, and this big name NewCal guy is on there, and he was like, I'm telling you, I don't care what anybody says, you cannot breed chihuahuas in enclosures with isopods. I've lost thousands of dollars of eggs. And it's like, well, bro, like where do we start the conversation? Because I've never pulled them, and I've never lost a Chihuahua egg. So where does this conversation with you and me start? You're sitting here telling people not to do it because they cannot be done successfully. I have done it successfully. So where what's going on? There's no happy medium with some people. People don't understand that, like you're saying, add some foods, do this, do that. There is ways around it. It's not an end all be all.
If you don't give anything food, they're gonna get hungry. And you're going to eat the first thing that you see that's edible. That's just how it goes. It's the same thing with everything out there.
Of course.
So, yeah, nothing different there. But with me, there's no absolutes in this game. You can still Google, what's the average lifespan of a ball python? And it's 20 years or something on the Google when it pops up. But then, you scroll down, and they're like, a 50-year-old python just had eggs, and she's never even been with a man. And her entire life, we know it. So it's just what do we actually know? We don't know shit. We haven't really been in the game long enough to actually know anything. You know what I mean? When we started the game, we were Neanderthals, basically. You know what I mean? Yeah, it goes deep there. But you know what I mean? We're not
Still learning.
There's
still
no
evolving.
absolutes. I've been humbled a million times, and I'll be humbled a million more. I'm ready for it. I like learning. That's why I'm in this game. You know what I mean? Like, this is the only thing I've ever done that's not stagnant. You know what I mean? Like, all my 9 to 5s, you're not doing nothing. Like, that sucked. You know what I mean? Like, you're not learning nothing. Like, whatever. Like, you can read a book about World War II or whatever. Like, what's that going to do for you? You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to benefit other than, I mean, there's some benefits to learning about the past and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. But, like,
you learn about the past.
This is so much better.
Be better in the future.
Exactly. Yeah. But like, this is something that, like, every day I wake up, it's like, well, cool. What do I feel like doing today? Because holy crap, I do plants, I do dirt, I do plethora of animals. I got a massive yard with a huge garden. Like, I got 1.5 billion things to do all day, every day, and it's just me here. So, like,
hey, listen, I'd rather be living your life than mine. Trust me, brother. Are you selling isopods? Are you selling isopods? Do you offer isopods?
Yeah, that was kind of the main thing that started. Right now, currently, it's a lot slowed down.
Really? I was just going to say, talking about the market exploding, the isopod market.
For me, it kind of sucked because, like, when I got into it, like, my friends would always mess with me, like, dude, you selling bugs? You sell bugs, man? Like, that's literally what they would say to me while I'm sitting at the table while I'm, like, literally talking to customers. They'd be making fun of me, and now they're, like, coming over to help me deal with my bugs. So it's like,
yeah, I mean, shit. Yeah. I was just at the reptile store, and they had, like, those pineapple spike joints. They're like $2.99 for, like, a 5-pack. Like $299 for 5 of them things. Yeah. So if you have those, you're pretty much
that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I sell those. I do those like $100 for 10. Those things breed way too fast for that kind of price. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, it's reptile store. They gotta make up the margins.
Is like, storefront prices are always insane. Breeder prices are always so much better. Because, I mean, like, realistically, other than the time invested and the space used, like, I'm not using a lot of power to keep them alive. There's no heat lights. There's none of that stuff. Like, it's like fish flakes and stuff I pick out my garden, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a heavy bill going in. It's a heavy investment. I bought Red Diablos that were $100 a piece, literally. Like, I bought 5 for $500. Wow. Yeah. So, like, the investment in them is where the heavy part is, with a lot of things. But, like, the upkeep is not bad. Once you get the husbandry down, you can get everything rolling. It's not bad.
What are most people doing with those expensive isopods? Are they keeping them by themselves, or are they keeping those in enclosures with other animals?
Those are. They'll make a decked out little enclosure to kind of replicate what they like, and that's it. It's just it's a straight hobbyist thing. Like, I can't say nobody, obviously people, if you have an influx of isopods, you can't get rid of them, and you can't make more room, if you've got lizards, they're going to eat them. But most people aren't taking anything over $10 really per bug and putting them in an enclosure. Most of that's usually just kept in a side culture for fun. It's an easy thing to work with, and not a lot of space, not a lot of requirements. It's great for kids, you know what I mean? It's probably my favorite thing when children come in, because they'll be like, oh, roly-poly bugs, and I'll give them, like, I make pre-made isopod enclosure setups, so that way they can just pick and go. If they find a new species they like, they don't have to work when they get home, that type of stuff. It's my favorite thing. Like, I want to make this as easy as possible for you. I don't want you to work. I don't want you to have to think. And I want you to be like, yo, dude, I have so many isopods, I can't even think. Like, that's what I want. I want you to be able to come to the shows and bend next to me. There's a market for it. It's not just me out here. I'm not going for everybody's money. I'm just trying to make everybody happy and, do some shit I like to do. That's all this is. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's all about just, having fun. We are all in this for the animals. I'm never going to be rich. I don't want to be rich. I just want to be able to support what I got to support and just be happy with the people I got around me. That's it. That's all there is to it.
I mean, that should be everybody's goal, but social
media,
stuff has a heavy influence on what we think we like, what we think we want. So
I say it all the time. People need to start thinking for themselves, man. Imagine what this community would look like if people worked with what they thought was cool and not the next man, right? Like, it's Like, granted, some things are cool, right? Like, some things are popular. You know, me and Jason run this podcast, and we predominantly talk about, you know, rare species of geckos. We try to expose people to the less common things and gather information and pass information that shows people how easy it is to keep some of these rare species. Just because a species is rare doesn't mean that it's hard to keep. You know, it's, I guess my point what I'm getting at is it's not that, I mean, clearly I have anything against New Caledonian geckos. I love them. I have hundreds of them. But there's other things out there that you can have. You don't have to get a crested gecko because the cool kid has a crested gecko. You can have one of 2,000 other species of geckos, you know, and contribute more by studying something that less people have, or, you know, whatever makes you happy. You know, it's just, I feel in general that a lot of people, and I don't want, I'm not trying to sound, you know, malicious in any way, but people have a habit of liking what other people like and not what they like, right? Like, if they just follow their passions in life and not someone else's, I feel like people would generally be more fulfilled, right? If you followed your heart.
Yeah, we're all guilty of it, though. You know, at the end of the day, we're like, we all are, you know, we all want to have our own niche, but we're all guilty of it. You know, we all see something somebody else does, and you're like, shit, that's cool as fuck. Let's go do that.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Yeah, like there's always there's malicious intent with it for sure with people, because they just, you know, want to control all the market and control everything, do all the things. It's a money grab, and, you know, whatever. And then there's a million people that see it and they're like, whoa, I want to dedicate everything I do to that, and they do, and I love it. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people get hate for. A lot of people get hate for just having a large crested gecko collection or just having a ball python collection. It's like, some people just love that.
You ain't lying.
Yeah, some people just love that.
Hey,
like,
man,
and I love ball pythons. I love all of it. Like, it's all cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, sure. I can't get mad at you.
Sure, you're absolutely right. Yeah. Absolutely right. 100% right.
So I got a question. So you said that you leave like most of your eggs in the substrate, right? So you're not so you're not ever worried about like getting them like wet or saturated or anything like that? Like, that's never been an issue for you?
Nope. So I do about a 1.5 inch layer of drainage. Everything's on a misting system too, so that way it kicks on and off. It's trying to not oversaturate anything, and, you know, it took a minute to find the balance there.
Yeah. Okay.
But a thick layer of substrate too. I usually do about, like, my whole base layer from the bottom of the tank to where the animals can sit, where you're looking down and seeing the top of the leaf litter, is like usually about 4 inches to 5 inches thick.
Nice. Okay.
So I'll do a 2 inch to 3 inch amount of substrate mounted towards the back, so there's more substrate in the back than there is in the front, just because, you know, tanks only give you that much room. And then I crumble as much leaf litter as I possibly can in there. I'll make as thick as I possibly can of all sizes of leaves, as, you know, the dust, all that good stuff, just so that way you have as many nooks and crannies and stuff like that. That's going to help prevent. That's a lot of water wicking. All the water's going to beat away. It's going to help prevent things from being stagnant and stuff like that. So I haven't really had too many issues with that, other than the occasional Mr. Nozzle getting screwed up or something and flooding the tank out, or not firing off right and drying up a little bit and I didn't catch it that week, or something, you know, stuff like that. That's usually caught pretty quickly, so it hasn't been too much of an issue, to be honest with you.
Nice, what type of materials are you using, and what type of materials would you suggest people can use for a drainage layer?
Oh, so you got a lot of freedom with that. The biggest thing is, are you going to move the tank or not? And is your floor heavy enough if you're going to do this to all of your tanks, if you have 100 of them? Are strong enough. But, you know, you can just use river pebbles. You know, you can go down to the river and just collect a bunch of rocks, throw it in there, clean them up with some Dawn and throw them in. You're good to go. The lava rock, all that stuff, that's totally fine. You can buy, you know, decent sized bags of it at Home Depot and Lowe's for $4. It's got a pretty cool look to it too. Everybody likes different stuff. Try it out. You can use just straight vermiculite. They make different coarse grades of vermiculite, so you can use very large chunks of vermiculite. Perlite. Sorry, I meant to say perlite, the white stuff. Hydroballs is my preferred, just because it's a clay base, so that's a calcium base for your animals too. Isopods are going to figure out a way to get through the drainage barrier and go see it and hang out down there. It's also something that's going to break down slowly and add a little bit of nutrient back into the soil. The plants can go down and they'll root directly into those balls because it's a porous chunk of clay. So yeah, that's been my favorite personally, just because it seems to have the most benefits outside of just being a drainage layer. But realistically, like you can do whatever you can think of. Like that's just a couple examples, but like you can use like an egg crate, stuff like that. Like
I've seen people do that. They take that fish tank divider and they'll put it up on like stones and suspend the fish tank divider, and it's really just to give the water a way to pass through, for people that don't know. But it's there's many ways, and my point, I guess, was that if you don't have the $40 to say buy 10 pounds of the lichen balls, it doesn't mean that you can't have a drainage layer. There's a million items that you could use to create that effect and give you.
I'm a fan of good cheap. Yeah, I'm a fan of good cheap. Like I always tell people, like you can holler at me and ask me all the questions you want. Like lately, I'm sure you guys have noticed too, trying to get all this stuff going. Like it's hard to get a hold of me right now because I am in a whole nother world right now. But the goal for me is still at the end of the day to make sure that your animals thrive. Like I'm not always here to take your money. Like I've told people a million times, you can't afford it today. Don't worry about it. Go to Home Depot, get this, and this product. You can clean it with these 5 different, give them a list of things that they can do. So that way they can save that $50, $60, whatever they can, $10 if they need to, like whatever, and go do it that way. I sell pothos single cuttings for like $3. You can buy an entire plant at Lowe's for like 15 that's dangling out 5 feet, but it's coated and stuff. You don't want to take that, throw it straight in. You got to clean it. You got to make sure it's pesticide free. It's not going to kill anything. So I give people advice like that, where it's like you have other options. You don't have to blow all your money here today.
That's good business. That's good.
Yeah, everybody's got their own budget, and everybody needs help. You know what I mean? Like I see so many people that get pissed off when they're like, man, this dude didn't, he blah, 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 bought this thing and ask me all these questions. Like, I get it. Like, it does suck when some dude comes up and he just bought a gecko that you sell for $5 and he's like, can you tell me everything I need to know about this gecko? I get it. You definitely don't want to tell them how to take care of that gecko because, like, dude, I could have gave you whatever, million better things. And, like, you're going to buy it from this guy who doesn't tell you anything, and then you're going to ask me how to do it. But that's the animal's life. Period. Ego aside, you didn't make no money. Now you're talking about an animal's life because this is a 15-year-old kid or some 30-year-old that's hard on life, is trying to get out of drugs or something and only had $30 and he's trying to get happy with a gecko today. There's a million reasons why they didn't spend $100 today. You know what I mean? So help them out. They're going to come back to you later. They're going to be like, yo, this dude was like super cool. He told me how to do this. He gave me a little bit of advice. He didn't charge me shit. Like that's what I'm here for, is I want to just make sure that the animals aren't going to die. People are going to be happy.
You have more value and hold more value being an information resource than you do a supplier. If you're a resource and someone that people can look to as a resource, you're priceless. If you're just a sales guy or someone selling something, anybody could sell anybody anything. But if they come to you as a resource, you have to almost appreciate that, right? Appreciate that, respect that, embrace that, and do that person right. And they'll be back. They'll come to you the next time, and like you said, I mean, everybody has different set of circumstances when it comes to money. Sometimes people just don't have it. Sometimes a man's got 3 kids at home, a wife, 3 kids, a job that doesn't pay shit. I mean, we don't know everyone's, individual circumstances, but if our goal is getting these guys the best information and best care that we can, then everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then you're going to have a dude that's going to want to stay in the hobby for longer than, 1 season. He's not going to just buy in and sell out, or he's going to stay in for the long haul. Turn this into an actual hobby rather than just a fling. You know what I mean? Like that's what I want.
Awesome.
Definitely. So let me ask you.
Good morals.
For
for
your substrate, right? Now, what's a good way to like kind of revitalize it without like, say, instead of like adding like another like half a fresh mixture in, is there any other ways for people to like liven it back up, give it like nutrients and stuff like that? What are some good ways to do that?
Yeah, there's tons of different things that you can add in. There's a million different products, leaf products and stuff like that are out there. A lot of them have a ton of different benefits, like Indian almond leaves. We all know that stuff from fish tank days because that's something that they use for tannins. It's very rich. It's very good for the tank health, the water health, the fish health. Stuff like that can be broken up and added into your tank, mixed into the substrate. That's going to add in a little bit more extra goodies. Like I make, I call it the ISO love bag. It's just basically all the goodies that isopods love in a bag and a split off. And you can just dump the whole thing, break it up, dump it into your enclosure, mix it up in there. That'll give you a little refresh. You can just add in the same substrate that you've been using and fluff it up a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, and it also depends on what you're working with too. Like if you're trying to fluff up cocoa fiber and it smells like crap after 6 months, you're screwed. Like you've got to gut it. It's going to smell like crap no matter what you do. You can mix it like 50-50 charcoal and cocoa fiber, and then it won't smell like crap, but it's just going to be charcoal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
What's in your goodie bag you're working with? I'm sorry?
What's in your goodie bag, your isopod love bag?
So that it's the wet dirt that I make. I throw a healthy scoop of decaying wood in. There's a ton of leaf litter, multiple different types of leaves, a bunch of sphagnum moss, and a chunk of cuttlebone.
Okay, nice. And this is all like broken
so you got a little bit of
down,
everything.
and so boom. Okay, that's smart. I like that.
Yeah, and it's split off so that way it's not all together. So like if you didn't want to add that sphagnum moss, it's up top. You can just rip that out, set it to the side, pull the leaf litter and the other stuff out. So it's not all just mixed together. It's kind of it's in one bag, but I can layer it a little bit.
Okay.
So it's easier.
That's smart. Yeah, I like that.
Do you use earthworms in any of your enclosures?
I actually have quite a few different tanks that have worms in them. Most of the time, it's not something that I introduce naturally. It's like, I'll get a plant from somebody that I didn't quite get all the dirt off of or something like that, and it'll just make its way in there. I've never had any adverse effects from it. I've red wigglies and stuff like that you don't really want to add in just because those taste bad. They have that.
Those are the ones I was telling you.
Yeah, they have that toxin or whatever that like, it's not going to harm your animals, but it makes them laugh high.
Yeah, it tastes all bitter and shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason I ask is I find them, I use them in all my enclosures, and I think that it's great. Canadian night crawlers, I think they do an amazing job of aerating the soil and turning the soil over. And
oh, yeah.
Like yourself, my enclosures, I have some that are 4+ years old, the same substrate. I'll add stuff when I have to, but I don't pull any dead leaves off of my plants. I let everything just take its course, and I feel like it kind of recycles itself. But again, I feel that, when people ask me, I'm like, if you got your hands on some earthworms, man, throw a worm or two in there. It'll help, not aerate your soil a little bit.
Yeah. I wouldn't tell you to put like 15 into one enclosure, like a 12-18 or something, but like, one or two, that's just extra goodies that's rolling around doing some work for you. Yeah. Like they're very beneficial. That's a bunch of fertilizer getting added into your enclosure too. So your plant's going to love you for it.
Allegedly good at, breaking down organic matter, composting, all the other organic stuff in the tanks.
Yep. Yeah. So they're definitely beneficial. It's not something that I go crazy over and add in, all the time. But yeah, if I find them, it's a happy day, happy accident, if you will. Bob Ross.
So are you a big time show guy, or are you just kind of just at your local area?
Well, not a big time show guy. No, just like, I don't do any of the crazy big shows. I just do like as many local. Like I'm West Virginia based. I do most of the PA shows that I can get into. Trying to dabble up into New York. It's just long drive and a lot of work for me and stuff like that. But yeah, most of the stuff that I can get into just locally within a 3 to 4 hour radius is most of the stuff I'm hitting up right now.
How long have you been vending for? I didn't ask you before, but how long has your business been in operation? How long have you owned Dirt Daddy, and has Dirt Daddy actually been established?
Yeah, Dirt Daddy officially is 3 years old. Yeah, 2020, end of 2021 is when I started Dirt Daddy officially. But I've been vending for, I think it's been 8 years now, something like that.
Nice.
It's your experience.
Yeah, it's. No, I wouldn't. No, it started off as just like a little, just nothing crazy, local once every couple months show. Like in the beginning, it was like we were more or less just kind of wholesaling stuff in because we didn't know. Like I got mad at the dude that sold me the shitty reptiles, so I was like, I'm gonna not do that, and I'm gonna actually try to sell healthy animals and stuff like this. So that's kind of how it started. It's just like, I'd get stuff in, I'd actually make sure it's good, keep it for like 5 or 6 months, work with them, make sure it's actually like an animal that's healthy, not going to die on you tomorrow.
You ever find out why you lost those chameleons? Did you ever find out why you lost them? Or
because it was
the wild caught.
The real reason is because I went to the table that had about 75 different species, all in different deli cups on the same table, and that was it. Like, the dude is just a straight wholesaler that didn't give a shit about anything that was on his table. They're probably all from Strictly that afternoon. Or you got them Friday night and just, untaped the freaking box that morning and put them on the table. I guarantee you that's what it was. Because, after being in the hobby for a little bit, you see those people so much. Underground reptile specialists and freaking Strictly specialists.
Yeah.
That's it. They don't know anything about the animal. They just buy it because it's cheap and on Strictly, and they didn't see it last time they looked. Throw it on the table. If it dies, it dies. Because they bought 15 more. Hopefully they'll make their money back.
Yeah.
That's what so many people, that's what I bought from my first time ever buying an animal. And that put a real sour taste in my mouth. Yeah.
The sad part is
I'm surprised that you, I said, I'm surprised you even stayed in the hobby.
Why is that? I thought it was me all day. I was like, I killed this thing. I'm the worst keeper ever. I'm not going to do this anymore.
Yeah. And
I'm
that's
like trying not to shed a tear for this animal I just bought yesterday. But then I, talked to a buddy who was a little experienced, and I was like, let's go. So,
They should went that way. Again, it's like, the sad part about those guys, and I don't want to pass judgment, even though we all do. But the thing that I don't think those guys realize is they sell someone new these animals that don't make it, and they run off with their little $100 or whatever, but they prevent people from wanting anything to do with this hobby. If someone goes out and spends $160 on 2 chameleons and they lose them in that first week, let alone first night, the odds of them wanting to gamble another $160 are slim to none. They're going to do like you. They're going to feel like they were the problem. They're going to take the blame on themselves, and they're never going to come back. That's not helping the hobby. It's not helping the community by any means. Luckily for us, you were curious enough to find out, to want to know the reason and to try again. But again, the sad reality is not everybody does, man. People buy animals from those type of people, and we never see them again.
Yep. I hear it all the time, man. I hear it all the time. We're like, I used to keep this back in the day, and it died like super quick, and I lost the heart for it. And 10 years later, they finally decided to do it again because of Buddy or whatever. Yeah. So they usually come back. It just takes them a long time, and I wish they didn't have to do that because they're missing so much valuable time that they could be loving life.
Exactly.
So.
So are you dabbling back into those Jacksons?
I would love to, but honestly, it's just that it's a lot of extra work.
Man,
those are one of my absolute all-time favorites. The requirements and whatnot that I just can't meet it with, especially with my house is insane, man. Like, I don't have a spare inch in this house to put another thing right now either. So,
cool.
I mean, this is literally what it looks like. It's just floor to ceiling.
That's awesome.
Everywhere. So,
that's cool.
This is my dining room, by the way. Yeah.
That's damn cool.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's on the ceiling. It's literally everywhere.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Are you packaging up your own products too? Your substrates? Are you bagging up your own substrates, or do you have a facility to do that?
Dude, I do everything
for yourself.
I do everything. Yeah, I mix. I purchase all of the products. I select all the products. I haul all the products. I unload all the products. I mix all the dirt. I bag all the dirt. I weigh every single bag. I label every single bag. I seal every single bag. Every single product I make, it's the same way. Everything is done by my hands, so that way I can make sure it's going good.
Guys, if you want to know where it's coming from, guys, reach out to Kenny, man, at Dirt Daddy, guys. You can guarantee you're going to know where your substrates are coming from. You're going to, the odds of you getting a better product that leads to a longer project is much greater if you source your materials from a place like Dirt Daddy, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Yeah. And I stand behind it. If you have issues, I got you. Like, we'll figure it out. If I screw up, I screw up, man. It's just me. Like, it's a lot to do. So, I'm bound to screw some things up. So just be a little lenient with me, and I'll definitely, use grace and make sure I get you good. So
I've heard nothing but great stuff from your products, from everybody I've talked to. And you're doing a hell of a job over there, man, for real. So as far as like these shows, right? Besides like the substrates and like the isopods, what else do you offer on your tables?
Tons and tons of plants. My one big thing is air plants. I have,
nice.
From what I've been able to see, like, I just haven't found anything more intense. Like, I have definitely like the largest selection of air plants you're going to find at any plant, reptile, or any type of show you go to on the East Coast. I haven't found anything. I ain't gotten to Florida, so don't they grow on the trees down there, so don't let me talk about them. You know what I mean? But up in my area, my neck of the woods, like I have a very large selection of air plants. That's one of my big favorites. I'm obsessed with them. So,
do you have any tips on how to keep them alive? I got a personal, selfish question to ask. I love air plants. Yeah. Terrible at keeping them alive. What are some tips you would give people new to air plants to help them thrive?
Okay, so the big things that I see people killing them with is watering is the biggest one. The type of water you use, not necessarily how you water it. Spring water, reverse osmosis, or spring water or rainwater are going to be your best bets. Deer Park works just fine, stuff like that. Anything more with a lot like well water has tons of minerals. That is no good for those guys. Most of the city waters are so loaded with all these different chemicals, these plants just can't handle it. And a lot of the different fertilizers that are on the markets and stuff too are based for plants that use the root system to break the actual material down, rather than air plants work in a totally different way. It's like scales that absorb and break everything down there. So biggest thing is watering. I do a morning dew every day for all my air plants, and I use a Brita filter and a dechlorinator on all my stuff. That worked well with my tap water. That's not usually the same for everybody because everybody's stuff's different. But usually I just recommend for everybody the ends of your Deer Park water bottle that you never finish, throw that in a spray bottle and use that as your air plant juice, and you'll be good to go. Other than that is your lighting. Most of these are a species that you're going to find underneath the canopy, so they're not getting a whole bunch of direct beat down sunlight, but they are getting pretty much indirect bright light all the time. You know, from sun up to sundown, they're always underneath that canopy of the tree, or on the rocky cliff sides in like Ecuador, Peru, something crazy like that, where they're they have shade, but they also are getting some strong lighting. So usually that window that only gets like a couple hours of bright light isn't enough. You usually want something that's getting a little bit more than that, or I usually recommend throwing them under a good strong plant light. I use a lot of Harbor Freight shop lights actually for all my stuff. That's what those two big boys up there are. Those are just the $50, 10,000 lumen Harbor Freight shop lights. Cost me $100. So that's another thing I'm a fan of, like cheap, good.
Sure.
So, yeah, that
says they're not.
Yeah.
Full of crap. We all want good, but
all right.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, those are the two biggest things.
Yeah, that's why you see all those people putting stuff in bins, right? You trying to figure out the most efficient way to keep these animals. Even now I always tell people, like, hey, if you're gonna keep it in bin, you can still give it that substrate. You could give it to the isopods, and
you can give it a life.
Yeah, you can still do all that.
Bioactive substrate. So
I got right up here. I got my Cerdodactylus nebulosus, and that thing is full of dwarf white isopods. They be tearing them up too. Like I have to kind of replenish it every now and then, because that thing they deplete them because they're forever foraging and eating all my damn isopods. But
let me know.
And you can throw like seeds and stuff in there too. Even in the dark, that stuff will germinate and root. You'll get a little bit of plant life in there that'll add a little bit of fresh air. Yeah, it'll die quick and you get more food.
I threw a potato in my isopod bin. I had like a piece of a potato and I threw it in my isopod bin, like figuring they would just eat it. I opened it up like a week later and the thing was sprouted everywhere. I was like, what the fuck? It grew under here, under a chair.
Yeah, I grew pepper plants in my isopod bins before because I just threw a whole like bell pepper or something in there. The seeds get left over and it just got enough light to sprout or whatever. I don't know. They're happy and roll. So yeah, nice. Weird things happen. Yeah.
Hey, so I got another question for people that have planted. Now that you're into plants, I know you're into plants. People that have these bioactive enclosures like myself, we can't use chemical fertilizers to fertilize our plants. What would you suggest someone uses that wants to throw some extra nutrients into the soil for our fully planted enclosures? What could we use?
If you want to use it, so the goal of a healthy tank is that you shouldn't really have to add too much external fertilizer in. If you have a healthy soil that's breaking down and you're adding in tons of decaying organic material, that's all they're getting in nature anyways, is just different poops, different, dead animals, stuff like that. But like you can make worm casting stews and stuff like that. You can make bat guano stews. There's a ton of different things that you can make. Even just boiling, the leaf litter from your backyard and straining that water out and using that. That's plenty good. One of the best beneficial things you can do is if you have fish tanks or if you have a local pet store down the road, go over get some fish water, some of that old nasty fish water. That's full of all kinds of goodies, all your plants and stuff love. So, that's an easy way.
My frog tanks, these big old African bullfrogs. I take the water and I pour it all over my plants in the enclosures. But it works.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yep.
All right, I'm gonna start doing that now because I just got some.
Yeah, that's one of the most beneficial fertilizers you can do. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I got the dumpy tree frogs, so I got a big old water bowl in there. So now I'm gonna start just dumping that stuff because I got like bromeliad and something else in there, and just something that I know, hopefully they don't.
Oh, don't dump it into the bromeliad. Don't dump it into the bromeliad. You get too much dirt and nastiness into that bromeliad.
Well, not on top of on the ground, right?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't like only thing that when I do water, I do a misting for those bromeliads because I know they hold water into those pockets. So I'm not gonna dump that crap in there. Yeah, but I tend to just dump the around it, and then I got another plant in there as well, and I'm just gonna dump it onto there, and because I think,
there you go.
Yeah, I only got a few of them.
Bromeliads too, Kenny? You sell bromeliads?
A little bit here and there. It's not a big thing I focus on. Most of the ones that I work with are like the larger species that are more like Bristia. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong because I'm not good with the English language, even that's all I speak. I don't do a ton of bromeliads just because I'm not really set up for too many of them. But I do like a lot of the really large species, some of the ones that'll get a couple feet wide, stuff like that. So those aren't really too beneficial, when they're full grown in reptile enclosures, unless you got room.
Tree frog guys,
but still fun to keep. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like I can definitely get them for you if something that you're trying to source out. Like I got a bunch of buddies that work with them and stuff, and there's a couple sources that I can point you to that I trust online that you can collect them from. But personally, it's not something I'm really set up for at the moment. I'm working on a giant greenhouse in my backyard right now. So once that's finished, then I'm going to be starting to expand a lot more into the plant selection.
Nice.
So that's a work in progress.
That's awesome, man. I wish you luck with that, dude. I love, I guess, ultimately plants. I mean, I've always been into reptiles, but it's as an adult, it's been the plants that have gotten me into these crazy, fully planted enclosures. I love the animal, but the plants, I obsess over these plants in these tanks. I love them.
It's a different sense of just happiness you get from it, man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, just you getting those new shoots, you get a new flower or something like that. It's rewarding in its own right, and it's just peaceful. You know what I mean?
You said it best earlier. When you said, what did you say? You said you don't truly know your animal until you see him with dirt or something along the lines you had said, and it's so true. I tell people all the time, when you see an animal from a rainforest, from a jungle, and you have them in this sterile box, you're not seeing what this animal truly does. You're not seeing his full behaviors. When you take that same animal and you put him in a fully planted, bioactive enclosure with dirt and wood and plants and bugs and all types of stuff, you really get to see some of these animals' true natural behaviors, man. They're totally different. I have chihuahuas that are in plastic bins that are grown out, and I have chihuahuas that are in 50-inch long planted enclosures. You wouldn't even know they were the same animal, as sad as it is, but to see some of the other behaviors of the ones in these planted tanks, they live totally different lives. Seeing that myself is a huge reason why I'm converting everything to that style of living. It's a much healthier, stimulating, natural way of life for these animals to live on dirt. Just dirt. I mean, there's science that proves it with us humans. Grounding yourself and walking barefooted through the dirt is scientifically proven to be healthy to humans. I think that it's
you're not wrong.
It's a much different way of keeping things, and I'll always do it.
Yeah. I mean, like with the Uris, I've talked to a bunch of different keepers that have had a lot of issues with them and stuff like that. And then I start talking to them, and they're like, well, I keep them on, tubs and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, I mean, I don't know how they're going to breed for you either. A lot of people have success with them, but they're not popping out hard. They just hatch a couple here and there. Throw them in, give them some UVB and some good bright 12-hour sun and tons of plants and options to hide. And they're stick specialists. They like to just pretend to be a stick all over the place. And when you scare them, they just roll to the other side. That's all they do. You know what I mean? Give them that option.
You don't even see their legs move. They just slide.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
Same thing.
it's
Yeah,
so
that's
fun.
my
Like I love it. I
that's what
love
my
it so much.
Strophears do.
Yeah,
Because, like I said, they're
yeah,
related to those Eurodactyloids in some way because they both do the whole sticky
they are.
glue thing out their tails, right? But yeah, they do. They
yeah.
kind of
I had no
they
idea.
yeah
They're related, man.
they grab that stick and just kind of just like real, not even like elegant, but like you said, they just kind of move and don't even like you can't even see their feet moving. They're just kind of just all right, cool. You don't see me. I'm just
Yeah,
slowly moving to the other side. Yeah, my Strophears do that all the time. Like anytime I'm
I
trying to
love
pull
it,
them
man.
out or
It's so
something.
Much
it's so
more rewarding to watch him do it on that versus a pool noodle, right? Like you see a gecko on
Oh
a
yeah,
pool noodle versus a stick, and it's like, all right.
yeah. And like the Uris are weird too, because like I was always super afraid just because it's a New Caledonian species that like I'm not gonna do super hot with them because like my house gets freaking cooking in the middle of the summer sometimes. Like my basement can get like a hot spot in their enclosure can be like 95 degrees. And like they'll literally be sitting on that highest stick under the UV just getting cooked in a 95-degree day.
Mine do. I
You
tell people
know,
all the time. They
like
think
they're
I'm full of
fine.
shit. People think I'm lying. I tell them, like, my
Yeah,
room is 85 degrees right now, and my Uris and my Chihuahuas are literally at the top of the cage, basking in the UVB. Like,
mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yep.
So, I
I
mean,
have a crested gecko that hates it. Like when it gets hot in that room, I move him out to another room because it's, a lot better for him there. So like once that time comes, he gets moved out of the room because he doesn't like it. But everybody else, they're like, yeah, let's get cooked tonight, bud. Like they love
yeah.
it. Like
I mean,
everybody's
people
afraid to
tend to
give them that
forget
heat.
that everything needs a damn near everything needs a thermoregulate to some point, and
sure.
and
Mm-hmm.
it's that's how their metabolism is going to work. If you don't give them a place to regulate their body temperatures, you're going to end up getting that fat gecko because it's not using any energy. It's just kind of chilling. Now, if you got a little bit of heat on it, it's going to start moving a whole lot more. So people need
I
to
think that's
understand.
a huge problem with crested geckos in general. I mean, we all see some of these obese crested geckos, and I've talked to plenty of people. I mean, thousands of people at this juncture. And my theory really is that you're keeping them much colder year round than they would be in the wild, and you're feeding them much higher calorie dense meals than they would be eating in the wild. They're not burning it off, just like humans or any mammal for that matter. I mean, if you're keeping your, if you're, and I'm not saying everybody does, but there's a lot of people out there that will think it's the end of the world if their crested gecko room gets over 70 degrees. Like 70 degrees is the hottest they will ever. They think everything's going to die at 70 degrees. Like they aim for 66 degrees to 68 degrees, and then they feed these super sugar high foods year round. I mean, it's a perfect formula for a fat animal. Like, let the temperatures,
Yeah, move my
cycle and gradients are so important, man. Gradients, cycles, famine, like these are natural things, man.
Yeah, once I'm encroaching on like 85, then I'll get worried about my dude. And he's got enough places he can crawl down and be fine.
Bro, as
It's,
long as you have room
it's
for
just my
them to
paranoia,
get out of the
honestly.
way.
Yeah, yeah, because it's just I only have one crested gecko. He's my one homie. He's got 18 little bioactive bunch of tubes, so you can get down deep and
They're
Yeah.
a
Oh
hardy,
yeah.
hardy animal.
You said something. You said something that also made me think because like I've always been like weird about. I don't have a whole lot of crested gecko knowledge when it comes to like the sizes they're supposed to be and what's general structure and all that crap and whatever. Now, frankly, I only have one, so I'm not gonna. Don't care what the structure is. He's not gonna change. I'm not gonna breed him. I've always been worried about like, is he too skinny? Is he too fat? Is he not eating enough? And all that stuff. Because he's like, I have no idea how much he weighs, never weighed him, but he's, tailless dude, probably about 4 inches long, decently thick, wide head, just, not all saggy at all. Everything's nice and tight. And I'm always wondering, like, am I not feeding him enough? Is like something like, what's going on with the
That's how they should look. We had a guest on one time that me and Jason and I, Thomas Marriott. He works for, what's the magazine company that he does?
Exotic Keepers.
Exotic Keeper magazine. He's actually on his second trip back to New Caledonia now. And he's documented wild crested geckos, wild gargoyle geckos. If you see a wild crested gecko versus a captive crested gecko, now granted, we have taken control and have done some things genetically with them and selectively bred characteristics into these things that we desire. But when you look at the physical structure of a wild crested gecko versus a captive one, it's clear as day. It's like looking at a caveman versus a man that works in an office all day, right? Like it's They just have a different look to them. They look fit. They look fast. They look agile. They I don't even know how to explain it. It's just they look like they live a nomad life, like they are hunting for food. They are searching for food. They are moving. They are, these guys, a lot of people, unfortunately, in captivity, they love their animals. We all love our animals, but they
we love them to death.
Yeah, pretty much. We force
Literally.
our ways on them and say, well, I'm hungry, my geckos must be hungry, or I want this, so they must want that. And it's not always the case, I mean, Jay and I have talked about it a million times in a while, but when you know anything and you say you garden, fruits, for the most part, for a huge part, say 95% or better of all fruits, have a time of year in which they're ripe, right? Like fruits ripen and are in season one time a season. These guys aren't eating ripe fruits year round. They're not in the trees of New Caledonia eating ripe figs 12 months out of the year. It's not how it works. But there's parts of the season where they eat fruit-based diets. There's parts of the season where they're eating birds and hatchling, bugs and birds and, mammals. I mean, there's some crazy reports I've read on gut contents, man. And a very small percentage of these things gut, makeup is fruit. Let alone sugars, but it's our convenience, our convenience and our ease and our peace of mind as keepers, and what do I really know?
That's the beauty of it, is like we're still learning, you know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
Like I feel like it's been frowned upon to feed crested geckos crickets and stuff for like the last couple of years up until recently, where people are like, no, they like them. You can give them bugs. They actually like them. Like, yeah, no, they always did.
Yeah, you're right, man. It blows my mind. I still tell people to this day, you don't have to give them bugs. You don't have to give them bugs. They don't need bugs. I'm like, dude, I've raised thousands of these things at this juncture. It is, to me, it's not even a debate. They need
it's a night and day difference.
Yeah, they need bugs.
Yep.
Even the Yuris, my baby Yuris will be, there's no size reference here, but like 3, I don't know, a 3-inch long gecko that's like thick already. They're eating fruit flies and Pangea all the time. They go nuts for the fruit flies, and then when I don't feed them fruit flies for the day, then they'll be like, all right, cool, I'll go eat the page shit you left me there.
It's also stimulating.
They want their bugs.
Yeah, it's a mental stimulation.
Yeah, they go nuts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, people think they're just these slow little dumb geckos that don't do much. Like, dude, get a bug in front of his face, he's gonna light up. He's going to be a little dude you ain't never seen before. He's going to skyrocket from enclosure side to enclosure side to get a fruit fly. It is hilarious.
I literally just had this conversation, was it yesterday or the day before, that someone I sold a Chihuahua to like a year ago. And then I was like, hey, so how's everything going? Blah, blah, blah. And then she was telling me, she's like, yeah, I talked to this crested gecko breeder and they said, give the Chewy crested gecko diet 3 times a week and no bugs, no sparingly. I was like, no. We're not doing this. Sorry. I was like, no, Chihuahuas are hunters. They need to hunt. I was like, you need to reverse that. I was like, right now, I told her, I was like, this is what I've been doing. And I was like, I give my Chihuahuas, they get it, bugs 3 times a week. And I do the diet maybe twice a month, with the exception of babies. Babies will get it, once a week, and they still, but I want them to feed on bugs before I even think about giving that Chihuahua away or selling that Chihuahua or anything like that, because it needs to be able to do both before I let it go to its next home. Because like I said they're hunters. They need that mental stimulation, and also, like I said, I don't want no obese Chihuahua. Sorry,
yeah,
it is what it is.
Want them to live a long time
for a long life. Exactly, Kenny. It's not good for the longevity of these animals. I mean, there's sciences and studies that arguably flat out show that certain types of sugars cause cancers in humans. So it's things, these super refined.
I'll conspiracy the shit out of you on that. I believe all that stuff for sure. We out here killing the hell out of ourselves.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's super sad. It's super sad.
Yeah.
People.
Yeah. I hear that.
All right. So we're getting close to this end right here. So what is the most rewarding part of this for you as a business and with customers and all that stuff? What's the most rewarding part for you?
All right. So the most continuous rewarding part is when I'm at shows and customers come up and be like, dude, everything's going insane. I have all these things popping off. All that advice you gave me last show worked. And all things are going great. That is my favorite thing, period. other than when I give isopods away to little children that come back later and can tell me more about whatever they've been learning about that I've ever, you know what I mean? Like that's the stuff that makes me happy. Yeah. Like, cause I love if I see some little kid come up to my table that's like super interested in the isopods and like, you know, has an idea. He's been watching YouTube videos and stuff like that, all that. He tells his mom, like, you know, these guys, like, they do bioactive. I've seen like 5-year-olds telling their moms stuff like this. So I'll go get, you know, some dairy cows or some zebras or some clowns or something pretty and throw them in an enclosure and give them the whole thing and be like, here, this kid nourished this. Like, I don't care if you don't like the bugs, mama, like they're going to stay in the tote and he's going to take care of them. So just, or she, whatever, the little baby is going to take care of this stuff, and it's going to be a glorious thing. Please nurture the hell out of it.
Awesome.
Oh, man,
that's my favorite stuff.
I love that.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
My absolute favorite moment from keeping, I got the opportunity to sell a young boy his first reptile enclosure for a crested gecko that he'd bought. He decided a little bit later that he wanted to breed. So we upgraded his enclosure, got a much bigger one and all that good stuff. And we, you know, worked out all the details, and he talked to another buddy and got another crested gecko so he could do his breeding. And I mean, I think he was, I want to say 10-ish at the time. Like he just really loved his stuff and was quite knowledgeable for how young he was. Ended up being successful, produced his very first crested gecko. And that is my only crested gecko. His name is Antonio, and I will keep him till the day I die.
Awesome.
Yeah, that has been the most rewarding thing, period, is like helping a kid go from zero to actually producing something. And then his first thought was to give me that gecko.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Well,
It's a great story.
Yeah.
It's an awesome story.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing that's happened, period. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So I know we talked about some things that you're doing and some projects you have going on, but I can't help but ask, what do you have planned for, say, the next 5 years? What's a 5-year plan for Dirt Daddy? What would you like to do? What do you want to do? Where would you like to be in 5 years?
That's a great question. I'm figuring that out right now, to be honest with you. I just kind of had I had a whole reconfiguration of life, if you will, these last couple months. So the original purpose for me even starting Dirt Daddy was for the I'm probably gonna was so that way I could support my mom and make sure that she didn't have to work and retire. But that is a new plan that I have to reconfigure and try to just do it for myself and keep rolling. So
still do it
right now. I don't know what the 5-year plan is right now because I'm just trying to get through the day. So yeah, it's life, man. It's life.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we all know what happens.
Make you proud of.
Yeah, definitely. We know she is.
Sorry to drop that bomb on y'all.
No.
Trying to get back to
we know. Well, I mean, we already know. So I didn't even know you were going to bring it up. So, but it's okay. It's all right.
It's real life. I mean, that's where it is. Like I can't avoid it. You know what I mean? Like death and life are a part of it. That's what we deal with every day with our reptiles. It ain't no different with it was definitely a shock. A shock. Mom went early, so it definitely feel like we got robbed. So we're just trying to get everything squared away and trying to just get the game plan back going. I mean, realistically, the goal that I want originally in 5 years was to have mom retired and chilling, have the house covered, and have a little empire here. And that's really it. Like I don't have crazy aspirations to be like Josh's Frogs or anything crazy like that. I just want to be able to help people and still be able to do this and be able to be hands-on with everything. You know what I mean? Like that's really the goal, is just to be able to support the community, support myself, and continue to just hopefully do the right thing. That's really all it's ever been. So.
And I mean, regardless, I mean, whatever you do, I mean, she's going to be looking down and none but proudness. You know what I'm saying? So just always keep her in those thoughts, and just say you're gonna be all right.
He was my biggest supporter, dude.
Yeah,
she called me after everything. Now I lived with her, so like I've been trying to essentially take care of her for the last decade. So it's just been a big change. So I know she's proud. She told me all the time. So I was lucky to have a great relationship with my mom.
Yeah, that's definitely is, because you said not everybody does have that kind of relationship with their parents. So definitely something to be proud of right there. All right, before we all start crying here,
got lucky.
Ant, you want to hit him with the closer?
Yeah. My question is I always ask our guests the same question, and I'm always intrigued with the answers I get. If say a 10-year-old kid came up to you at a show, a little boy, a little girl, and he said, Kenny, I want to grow up and I want to do this. I want to sell plants and substrates and breed reptiles for a living someday. What advice would you give that child that wanted to grow up and do what you do today?
Oh, man, my face would light up. I will turn into a 5-year-old and be more excited than they could be. And I will run around and show them everything that I love. That way they can be like, oh, my God. You know, like I want to instill excitement on them. That's the biggest thing I can do. I can't tell you like, oh, buddy, go for it. You can get this, you know, try this, try that. There's no thing I can tell you. The only thing I can show you is how excited I am to do it. That's been my biggest thing. Like, I'm not a salesman. I'm just excited. Like, I'm not lying to you about anything I'm telling you because, like, I can't. I'm just, like, I'm so excited about it. Like, if you want to know what I actually like and, you know, stuff like I've had tons of customers be like, what's your favorite thing? Like, all right, buddy, you hold on. Like, we're going to run this table. Yeah, I got 36 feet of freaking table space to run you up and down. We're going to be here a while if you want that question. Yeah, so that's not even a hard question, man. Honestly, it's just show them the excitement in it. Like, show them that, like, you can love it. If they're a little bit older and they have a little bit of a head on them and stuff like that, and they can understand, like, a little bit of stuff, like a 15, 16-year-old, like, I wasn't a good student. I was a terrible kid. I did not do any of the things you're supposed to do in high school. You know what I mean? Like, I thought I wouldn't even, you know, make it to this age. And then I had this whole change around and, yeah, dude, like this is just all a product of me being insane and loving the hell out of what I do. Like, so everybody can do it too. Like, if you're really that passionate about it and you really love it, man, like, let me show you how passionate I am so that way you can get it too. Like, that's how the bugs get spread.
Awesome.
There you go.
And then I'm going to give him some free stuff at the end of the time so that way he's like, extra hell yeah, let's go.
Yeah, man.
Well, yeah.
Definitely, I love that energy. That energy, like I said, that energy right there is so transferable to other people. Like, and I could see that I could see that kid just lighting up and being that next person to, you know what, I'm gonna be like Dirt Daddy. I'm gonna go ahead and do all this. And next, you know, he's doing the same thing to somebody else. You know, so it's that. All right, cool. That next person and that next person and that next person, and then we're growing the hobby. So definitely love that.
Yeah.
Passion, like that's all it is. Probably the best sales tactic there is.
Yeah.
If it's a true passion and real excitement about something, you're probably gonna, push that energy onto someone else.
Yeah, and
yeah, that's all I want, man. That's all I want. I want you to be as happy as I am when you're doing whatever you're doing. You know what I mean?
Real passion is contagious, and it's like the best kind of contagious you could have. You know what I'm saying? So love that.
Yeah. I always tell people this whole game is an addiction. You just get to keep your teeth.
Right. Sometimes you might sell them to get something. You know.
Truth, man. You ain't even wrong.
So my last question. So what has been your biggest failures since doing this hobby, and what have you learned from them?
Every death is a failure. Every death is a failure that I get to look at and figure out what the hell I did wrong. Let's see. Biggest one.
What the hell was that?
I think the biggest failure I've had yet so far is probably, I don't know how to word it. It's like just basically trying to be Superman and do it all.
Okay.
Like that's been my biggest failure.
Taking I'm learning a whole lot and not trying to, but not staying kind of focused.
Yeah, I'm that dude that's like super prided in like, I don't need help. I've built this from the ground up myself. Like blah, blah, blah. I don't need to ask nobody for nothing. And like recently I've been humbled and realizing that sometimes it's better to ask for help.
Oh yeah.
So
definitely.
I think that's been the biggest failure as of now. You know, there's been tons of failures this whole time. Like I've screwed up 1 billion enclosures. I've accidentally done the wrong thing at the right time with the right animal and shit happens, man. Like it sucks ass, but you never do it again. Yeah. And you can pass it on so nobody else will do it again. I've definitely made my fair share of mistakes, but I think the biggest one is thinking that I'm Superman and I can just handle all of it and I can get it all done and I don't need to ask for nothing from nobody. Yeah. I actually just missed my first ever reptile show yesterday. I was supposed to be at Gettysburg, and due to the excessive amount of everything that's been going on in my life, I was literally unable to make it, which is a first for me. I've never missed a show in the entire time I've done this. So yeah,
I think
so
we've all
that
been there.
it's been a humbling experience lately.
Yeah, we've all been there with that stuff. Just as long as you can realize it. I mean, it takes a big person to realize things like that about yourself. And it's like, all right, now after that, now you kind of get that game plan and idea of, all right, how do I tackle all these objectives? Do I, and asking for help. It takes a big person to ask for help. Like I said, people don't like asking for help. They just like, no, whatever, I'll figure out a way to do this myself. I don't need nobody. In the end, you are going to need somebody. And if you can't realize it, you are going to keep failing and keep failing and keep failing. And then, after that, just shit happens,
Yeah. Yeah. Even if it's just somebody to talk to, man, like everybody needs something at some point.
Yeah.
May not be physical help that you need somebody to come over and do anything. You just need somebody to talk you out of your funk because you know you can do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you've done it 100 times. Nothing's different today other than your mood.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Sometimes it can just be, talking to a buddy or, whatever, reaching out to somebody and just, whatever, something like that can be all the help you need. It doesn't have to just be, physical, like actual help, stuff like that. So,
yeah, definitely.
But, definitely if someone wants to come over and help clean some snakes and, weed some garden, and feel free.
I'll say you got Savannah that's close to you. Tell her, come on over. I need some help. Let's go.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And she offers all that. She's gonna kick my ass after seeing all this, because she's always offered like, just let me know when you need help and I'll come out. And it's just been like, I need help all the time, but I'm not gonna tell you that, and I'm not gonna ask for it because I can get this. I'm a big strong man. I can figure this shit out. Like,
she's gonna hear this and be like,
help.
God damn it, you motherfucker.
Yeah. She's like, I told you.
Right, Kenny, where can everybody find you, man?
The easiest place to get a hold of me is going to be Instagram. I do Instagram and Facebook, but my Facebook's kind of locked out since the meta stuff and not technically savvy, and I just have kind of given up on that for now.
Yeah.
But yeah, Instagram's definitely my number one thing. Dirt Daddy LLC. You can also reach out to me via email, stuff like that. I have a website as well. It's been dirtdaddy.squarespace.com. It's going to be changing roughly. It should have already changed, but stalls here and there, putting it back. But yeah, me and Savannah are currently working on a new website that's going to be a little bit more involved, so that way hopefully have a few more products and make it a little bit easier for all the customers and stuff like that. So hopefully that'll come out soon. That'll be something else to look at.
Nice, cool. I'll put that in the show notes when you give me that info.
Are you doing Palm Street, Morph Market, any of those platforms?
Not right now. Most of the animals, like, I don't really produce like a crap ton of stuff. I sell at shows, and I try to avoid shipping and stuff when I can, just because it's a pain in the butt. And I'm so not good with the online stuff, man. Really, I'm really bad with it. I try, but it's just
the people that are not good with online are generally the best people. So I'm just gonna let y'all know that right now. The people that don't have crazy online presence or don't know how to work stuff on online, generally the best people to work with. Like I said, you guys are passionate.
Come over, talk to me. Yeah, we'll get everything good.
Yeah, no, because your online people sometimes they're just fucking dicks. I'm just being real, like for real. So don't ever feel like that's anything bad. No, you're good. Don't worry about that. People, if they like you, they're gonna come to you.
It definitely holds back. It definitely holds back, though. It makes it harder because I'd like to be able to reach everybody easier, but you know what I mean? Like, me trying to add all that extra stuff in is just like, holy crap. I have a genuine amount of respect for everybody that can do the social media presence consistently, and dude, no idea how y'all can do it. It's a lot. Like, I have too many things to do every day. I cannot sit there and do all that extra stuff.
I always tell people this. After 6 p.m., I don't go on social media. I cut that shit off. You send me a message, I'll look at the message, and if it's important, I'll reply back. If it's not important, you just send me a fucking reel or some shit, or I'll wait until the morning. It'll be there, because you gotta free yourself from social media. Because otherwise, like I said, half these people are lying. The other half just want to be like those other people. So it's like, whatever, man. Like, it's animals. Cool. That's it. I don't. I was like, I got real life shit I got to go and do. So that's why I'm always out and about. I gotta work. I work 7 days a week. So no, I need my breaks. So definitely, you're not missing.
That's a lot. Handling all that, all you got, doing the podcast and having a job. That's a lot, brother. That's a lot.
Got to do what we got to do.
Yeah, this is it. This is all I do. I'm just Dirt Daddy, sun up to sundown.
I wish I was you.
And then even when I'm sleeping,
I wish I had.
Brother. Oh man, I can tell you, it is one of the most rewarding things, but holy hell, is it stressful?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like I said, you have
it's a whole different animal.
You're not working for someone, you're working for yourself. So that makes it even more that you want to do it instead of someone like myself or even Anthony, where it's like, we got to do this for the person we working for because we got to, pay our shit. We got to pay our mortgage. We got to pay our rent, all that other shit. It gets stressful.
Yeah. And that's why I built the business around, like, I can't imagine trying to pay my mortgage off just animal sales, and specifically animal sales, because that's just like you're gonna have to cut corners. You're gonna have to do things you don't want to do. Wholesale stuff out, sell stuff to people that don't need stuff. So like I built my business around dirt and plants. You know what I mean? Like everybody needs it. It's beneficial for everybody.
I tell people all the time, you're never going to get rich selling animals, man. People buy animals. Not everybody's crazy like us and has multiple animals. Some people buy one animal and have it for 20 years. You're not going to keep selling them animals. They'll keep buying substrates. They'll keep buying foods. They'll keep buying lights. They'll keep buying everything else, but they're not going to keep buying the animals. You got to have another plan,
Those are the best customers, because those are the ones that are doing their animal the best they possibly can. You know what I mean? That's what we're striving for. We need to stop glorifying having 1 billion animals. Like, you don't need to. You can have 5 and deck them the hell out, and you make your obsession new plants for their enclosure or something instead of new animals for the house.
You can have one badass like tree monitor enclosure, man, and screw a TV. Just have a giant one crazy enclosure with 30 things happening at one time.
All right. Well, Kenny, dude, it was a pleasure talking to you, dude. Your energy is, like I said, it's so contagious and I love it. Like, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect from this conversation, but I mean, you put me in a really good mood just talking to you. So
good, man. That's what I'm here for. That's all I want to do. I try to leave everybody smiling. Don't always work, but I do the best I can.
Yeah. I said, thank you again for coming on, working with us. And like I said,
thank you guys for being like incredibly patient with me trying to get this shit going, because I know I was kind of a pain in the butt trying to. Is he going to be there or not?
No. All good, man. But, like I said, we got it. We made it happen. So that's the end result is it happened. So we're all good.
Much appreciated for the opportunity, guys. This has been awesome.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Definitely, man. All right, everybody, have a great night, morning, afternoon, whenever you're listening to this. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace
out, guys. Check out Happy Dragon, man. Happy Dragon for all your questions, all your needs. Discord, Happy Dragon. Check them out. You got questions, we got answers.
Yeah.
Stay weird.
And all the love.
Yo, creeping in the dark, life nocturnal, dark and dark, both paths arboreal to terrestrial. Sticky toes gripping forest students that explore. Listen close, Gecko podcast, that's knowledge galore. Reptile talk, host Anthony and Jason. Trade secrets flow, no time wasted. From tropics to town, it's sight raining. With every chat, reptile game changing. Escaping heat waves, tan under rays, desert sand echoes, sun blazing days. Little hustlers, camouflage a maze, catch them speaking wisdom, the wild on replay. Reptile talk, host Anthony and Jason. Trade secrets flow, no time wasted. From tropics to town, it's sight raining. With every chat, reptile game changing. Shadows unseen, master of the skies, chameleon dream. Blizzard tails flip, script getting clean. Gecko exchange, true reptile fiends. Reptile talk, host Anthony and Jason. Trade secrets flow, no time wasted. From tropics to town and sight raining. With every chat, reptile can't change. Scuttling through the leaves, shadows unseen. Master of disguise.